Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Tonight, it's all 9mm all the time, baby. That mean. We gone off the rocker? No, we haven't. But the cartridge corner is 9mm because what we decided is we're going to do a rifle cartridge one week and a pistol cartridge next week. So, but more importantly, if anybody didn't notice, there's some blue on the bench. Somebody had a question about crimping 9mm, and they had some pretty ugly cartridges. So we decided we'd discuss that tonight. So yes, I'm going to take the lovely Dylan and screw up all my settings just to reset them to show you how to work it. Jim and Jason and Travis are going to help me with that. So I'm going to do what I do best, which is play idiot while they teach me. So it's going to be a little bit of new beginner, a little bit of new, a little bit extra, but we'll throw in some tips and stuff while we're doing it. So I've got my brass, bullets. Yes, they're not cast. No, I don't want to hear about it. And then up there, I have just a little bit of tight group up there that we'll use. So, no, I will not send you any. So don't ask. But first, what's everybody done? Jason.
What?
I know what you did.
No, you don't.
Saw a picture. I saw pictures.
Okay.
I know you went to that place.
I did. And I did that thing.
Yep.
What kind of thing did you do, Jason?
I went to the range Saturday morning and shot a rifle.
You sound like you're going to an AA meeting. What do you do?
So after my buddies shot that Hornady ammo, and they were telling me they got a pretty close extreme spread, I took that same ammo out and shot it through my gun with the cronny, and I came up with 30 feet per second from I think I shot 12 rounds. So not bad, but not the ultimate. I can do better, I'm sure. But it was an interesting test.
30 feet per second extreme spread?
Yeah.
That for 12 shots? Hey, buddy, I hate to say this, but I'd consider that darn good because you're dealing with velocities at 2,800 feet per second.
Yeah, but that's you, Jim. I like perfection. What is that?
Yeah, I got you.
That's all I did. About the Trav man.
Oh, I'm always doing something. So today I got in an order from mightyarmory.com. The other day I got in 4 tool heads for the 1050. Set one of them up to trim 223 brass, and I processed about 3,000 pieces. A new belt set up for 3-gun from Jason over at Concealment Solutions.
He's got good product.
He does. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram pictures, Jim, but it's a nice setup he sent me.
Now, is it just a belt or is it belt and holster?
I had the Safariland belt, and I had him do all custom holster, mag carriers, everything.
I see.
I got the NOE molds and I casted up about 800 projectiles, powder coated, sized those the other day. Sunday, I went out to our local range and repaired some targets. And that's it. Have you guys seen the stuff from Mighty Armory?
Tell us about it.
So the owner, his name's Wayne. So he just came out with a called the Mighty Armory full length 223 sizing die. It's going to ship on Friday. So what I just got in is this here. And it's going to go on the 1050 in the swage station. So you can get these pins. And they just go right in there. The nice thing that I just found out was I had some extra decapping pins, and it's the same body as the other ones I have. So I can make this a universal decapper or a backer for my swage station. His pins are super hard. You have a hard time breaking these. These pins right here, they're super hard. They all unscrew, so you can replace them if something does happen, but they're a hardened tool still, so you really got to try to break one of these pins.
Let's hope not. Let's hope so.
If you haven't, you should check. He's on Facebook, Jim. But he's got some of the best stuff that I've seen out there. And the Mark 7 guys that do the
No,
auto
sir.
drive and stuff.
No, sir. I'm sorry.
They do the auto drives for the Dillons. And then they just came out with their own press. All of these decapping dies come standard on their presses now.
Nice.
So what did you do this weekend, Jim?
Talked about going to the Dixie Gun Show next weekend. Made plans with my buddy down here to go to the gun show up in Raleigh, up at the Raleigh State, at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. They have a special building they use. It's one of the larger buildings there, and it's one of the biggest shows in North Carolina. How about you, Mikey? You looks like you're up. Did you do anything this week? You're muted, Mike.
No, I spent time working on my brother's Jeep still when I had opportunity, and had to rebuild my front steps over the weekend because the stringers were rotten. So that was fun.
Well, rotten stringers could create broken hips and legs.
Thankfully, it was me going down the stairs and not somebody else.
Amen. Anyway.
So, yeah, that's kind of about it for now on that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So we're trying to chase noises here, and so I don't know. We're trying to figure out what all the extra noise is coming from, and we're doing some extra stuff. So those of you who are watching live, if we're quiet, that's why. So. All right. So we're talking about 9mm tonight. And so the 9mm Luger is a rimless tapered round with a total length of, no, we're not doing that in millimeters. Gosh darn it. Why do you people have to have millimeter crap? Nobody cares what the dimensions are in millimeters. It's a 9mm cartridge. That's enough. That's all the metric we need, damn it. Some people's kids, I tell you. Okay, there's my old man rant for the night. All right, so we shall look it up. 9 by 19, 9mm Parabellum, and 9mm Luger are all the same darn thing. Has a cartridge overall length of 1.169 inches. The brass has an overall length of 0.754. At the neck, it is 0.380. The ogive of the bullet is 0.355. And the outer diameter of the head is, or at the rim, is 0.394. There is a slight taper to it, but not that you would really notice. You can look a little bit visually. So at the point where you would normally see like incipient head separation, which is about 2/10 of an inch up from the end of the cartridge, it's 0.391, and then it slopes ever so gently to a 0.380 at the neck. So not really noticeable unless you're really looking for it.
Well, that explains the head diameter being 0.394, explains why our friend Swampy loves his 9mm brass to make it into bullets for his .40 caliber.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. He loves the 9mm brass.
So what could you make 9mm brass out of?
What could you make 9mm brass out of? Empty cases.
What rifle cartridge has the same basic dimensions?
Oh, 0.223/556.
That's correct. You can trim down a 5.56 or a 223 Remington case to use for 9mm. Good handy thing to know.
What do you know? Now I'll never scrap brass. Now I will never scrap another 223 case again. I'll be using that for making 40 bullets.
Ah. Now, how can you make a bullet out of an empty case?
Fill it with lead.
Oh, so you're going to use the case to make a jacket for a bullet.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about where they just put everything in there in the gun, they call it a bullet?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
Does that count the shiny nickel part?
No.
Oh. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody called me the Godfather of reloading recently. I guess I'm being an ass. Just tell Jim to go back in the corner and mute himself.
Oh, everybody's had Travis on their screen for the whole time. At least it's not Jim. Oh.
Shut up, Michael.
So this is a bullet, Jim. Bullet.
Oh.
Oh.
Hey, it even focused. Pretty shiny reflection mirror. Da.
You're yep again.
Da, shiny, 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 shiny.
Look, Gollum.
My precious. Oh, yes, my precious.
Let's try this again here and see if we can get the camera to focus once again. Ah, there we go.
Gollum, 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 Gollum,
Got
Gollum, Got him.
Quiet.
Got him.
Take that. That solves that problem for a second.
For a minute.
Come on, camera. Good. Focus it on the ugly mug and focus on the beautiful brass. Beautiful copper. All right. So this is a round nose FMJ. And actually, technically, it's a TMJ.
Thank you.
Why is it a TMJ? Jason, are you done? Are you done crying?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
It's a TMJ total metal jacket because the base is covered.
Correct. And that could make a difference in everything. The jacket keeps it a little sturdier, so you can push them a little faster. But the drawback to that, if your barrel's a little bigger, it's not going to flare out as well and seal against the chain or against the rifling. So
Forgive me, Mike, but that's actually not a jacket. That's a plated coating.
yeah. So this is a cop. Yeah, this is plated, but if it was brass, then it would be a total metal jacket. So I want to see if anybody was paying attention.
Well, the thing is, jackets are usually about 15 to 30 thousandths. They range from 15 to 30 thousandths in thickness, and that plating on there is about 2 thousandths in thickness, which means those bullets are nearly as soft as pure lead. When you take and shoot them in a perfectly sized gun, Mike's going to get deadly. You're going to have to saw. It's not going to be easy, Mike, but you're going to have to saw, but it'll come. Did you get lead?
Nope, not yet. Decided I didn't want to ruin my nice knife.
You'll get it.
There we go. Ooh, shiny. No, I want to touch the shiny. So, as we cut this puppy open and get the camera to refocus. Oh, it's shiny. Quit looking at me, you stupid camera. There you go. So you can see, kinda. Lighting was better. I'm trying not to touch the lead because I don't want to. So, damn it, you stupid camera.
Slow down, Mike. Slow down, please. Withdraw a little bit slowly. Oh. Advanced. Right there. Right there.
Well, I got to lock the camera because every time you talk, it goes back to you. And then it has to refocus again. Okay. So there we go.
Right.
So now you can see. You can't really see how thin the copper is. But.
Well, you can judge how thin the copper is, Mike, because you just cut that rather easily with your multi-tool.
Uh-huh.
You just cut that bullet practically wide open.
Yep.
With your multi-tool, and that you did that by hand. You didn't do it with a cold chisel, didn't do it with a hammer.
Nope.
There's not very much plating there.
Nope. So, yeah, not something you want to do on a general basis, trying to cut bullets apart.
No, because it's expensive.
Yeah. So, excuse me. Okay. So the most common diameter for this cartridge is 0.354 inches. However, the industry standard has been recently reestablished at 0.355. So your barrels are going to be going for 0.354 to 0.356, correctly matched with a bullet of 0.355, which is hooey. So, especially if you're casting. So it says, sorry, I'm playing with the mic to try and get it to pick me up without my breath. So hopefully that'll work. So cartridge head spaces from the mouth, and their case trimming must be uniform and accurate if you're going to trim your cases. Honestly, we don't. So, or I don't anyway. It says don't reduce cases to below trim length, which is, if any of you know anything about it, when you start shooting cartridges, you'll notice that it shrinks over time. So handgun cartridges usually don't have to do that. So, and it says don't roll crimp bullets, as it will prevent the case from properly head spacing on its mouth. A modest taper crimp may be employed if found necessary. Well, when we're loading cast bullets or plated bullets, or even jacketed bullets for that matter, you're going to put a little flare on the case so you can see the bullet easier, so you're not shaving sides of the bullet off. So what we're going to do when we crimp is we're just going to try and put that back to where it was. What brought up the 9mm for tonight anyway is a post that we got on the Reloading Podcast page. But back to the 9mm cartridge. So it was introduced to the market by Deutsche Waffen- und Munitionfabriken in 1902 for use in their Luger semi-auto pistol, hence the 9mm Luger. Round was designed and developed by the German firearm designer George Luger, who wanted a compact round that was lethal at 50 meters. It evolved from his previous work on the 7.65 by 2.1 millimeter and the 7.62 by 2.5 millimeter cartridges. Luger presented this ammo to the British Small Arms Committee in 1902 and 3 prototypes to the U.S. in 1903 for testing. By 1904, the German Navy had officially adopted the cartridge, followed by the German Army in 1906. So this cartridge has been around an awful long time.
It's another cartridge that's over 100 years old and still in modern use.
Yeah. Unlike most of its contemporaries. The 25, the 32 ACP were popular back at the time. We'll find out when 38 Special came in. We'll find out when 45 ACP came in. That type of thing. But yeah, otherwise it was still a lot of black powder pistol cartridges. Even though they'd switched over to smokeless. So, there's been a few variants over the years, but probably the biggest one that has any sort of staying power is the 9mm Luger Plus P. Basically, Plus P is an overpressured cartridge loaded approximately 10% higher than standard cartridge. So the biggest change in this, it is the change in bullet design. They're, the old standard of 45 kills, and stopping power and yada, yada, yada. Let's start a bar fight over that type thing. The main reason that was true for so long is because everybody was using ball ammo. Or they were using full metal jackets, total metal jackets. So whether it was a military, instead loaded up to German Luger standards, which would have been the German version of ball. There wasn't really a hollow point option for the longest time. And if they were, they usually weren't very reliable because companies put all of their effort into making jacketed bullets, round nose, especially. Especially in the last probably 25 years, bullet design has really taken on a whole new angle, I guess you could say. And they've just gotten serious about making a different, all these different hollow points and flat nose, and you can, when you get into casting, there's a whole bunch of different bullet designs you can get. So, and different weights. I mean, used to be 115 was about it, and then they added a couple more. So, and now you've got 147 grain, And I guess I heard the other day that there might be 160 grain coming out. I don't know how you're going to stick a 160 grain bullet in that thing, but somebody's going to figure out a way, because you're always just trying to change things up a little bit, and they're trying to make different things. Main reason for the 147 was to have a subsonic round that still had impact for suppressor use. So 9mm probably is the single most popular cartridge in use today in handgun. If you were to take a look, so you're probably talking that 9mm is probably the most used. And that's not necessarily just the States, it's around the world. And it's because the 9mm has been the standard in Europe for, well,
116 years.
Well, not completely, because, the British and the French didn't really adopt it until after World War II is when they really started to see some of the other countries using 9mm. But
Well, Mike, to refer to a private chat we have going on between the hosts, the 5 hosts, going back to your terminology, ball, as in ball ammo, that usually refers back to full metal jacket ammunition, irrespective and irregardless of whatever caliber it might be, 308 through 30-06, 45, etc., and so on and so forth. And the main reason for the full metal jacket ammo was because that was adopted by the Geneva Conference. According to the Geneva Conference, they outlawed hollow point ammunition as being too lethal. The concept is you injure one man, it takes 2 men to carry him back to the corpsman, to the medics. That was the premise behind the Geneva Conference adoption.
so here's a little bit of trivia on that. The United States never signed that document.
We live by it, but we never signed it. That's right.
Right. Though there is rumors now with the new 6 Hour, they may be looking into hollow point versus ball, or versus FMJs. So, but that's. So M4813 says, Mike, the 160 makes the round more quiet than the 147. I've been loading 158 flat point for the 38 357 because it's quieter than the 147 grain. So what he's talking about is he's using a cast bullet from a 38 Special 357 Magnum because it is .357 in his 9mm, and depending on how your barrel is, it's perfectly fine. So, and he says you're right there, not a lot of room left, so you're looking, basically almost a compressed load. Okay, so why? What's the advantage of carrying a 9mm versus a 40 or a 45?
More capacity.
Okay.
More rounds.
Yep.
That's why I like my 40, because it's a happy medium between 45 and 9mm.
Mm-hmm. I carry both. Sometimes at the same time.
You carry both?
Yeah.
9 and 40?
Yeah, 9 and 40.
You carry 2 guns at once?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Depending on the situation, so. But not usually. Usually I'm just carrying one or the other. Usually if it's somewhere that I don't have to worry about somebody looking and going, why are you having that, and blah, blah, blah. Ever, it's not something that's going to be in serious trouble, I'll carry the 40. Otherwise I carry this right here. And yes, I just flagged every single one of you. Dope. More importantly, I dropped a cartridge, and I'll find that later. All right. So what I did is I cleared that out because we'll need that later. But nice thing about a pocket pistol, I went to a 9 from a 380 because honestly, a 380 is kind of weak. And plus, the trigger on this thing is amazing. It's a LC9S, striker fired, and probably one of the best triggers I've actually ever shot. So, and got adjustable sights, which the LCP didn't. So I can change them out if I want. It still has the safety, but honestly, I don't use it. So I do not use. It's just like I don't use the safety on my SR40 either that I carry. So, and people I'm sure freak out. Oh, you don't use a safety? Your brain is the ultimate safety. Plus, this one has a trigger safety anyway. For those of you who are freaking out, which is all the safety a Glock ever had. But anyway, so the nice thing about a 9 is it's easily available and it's not as expensive as a 40 or a 45. But more importantly, magazine holds a lot more. So you can take a magazine, like to give you an example, we'll use the Ruger SR40. We'll use the SR series. So the SR9 has 17 round magazines. The SR40 is 15 round magazines. And the SR 1911 has 8 round as the biggest because it's a single stack. But in the, we can use the P250 also. I don't remember what capacity is on the 40, so I'm going to look that up quick. But so on the 9, the capacity is you can get, I want to say it's 15 plus 1. And what the plus 1 means is it's 1 in the chamber and then however many in the mag. Because what most people do is they will actually load up the magazine capacity and then they'll load the magazine into the firearm, chamber around, drop the magazine back out, and top the magazine back off. So that's why you see plus 1 in all these different things. So for the P250 and 40, it is a 13 round magazine. In the P250 in 45, it is a 10 round. So you can see the difference in capacity all for the same handgun. So you're talking, what is the 9? I believe the 9 I had was 15 round in the 250. And then, you can also get different magazine capacities and everything. So yeah, the standard 250 or 320, the magazine is 15 round. So you got 15, 13, and 10, and that's the difference in them. So here's a bit more information for the 9. Paul Nelson posted the 147 grain Hydroshock by Federal was the first adopted by the Illinois State Police in the early 80s, along with the Smith Model 39. So as police forces started to finally wake up and realize that the revolver was so far behind, they kind of started to look around, and you started to get the 9 was the prevailing cartridge other than the 45. So that's kind of the thing you were looking at is either 45 but then they were looking at like 1911s or something similar with a single stack mag, and they weren't much better off than the revolver. The only difference was it was loading faster. So then you started to get double stack 9mm, and you started getting 13 and then 15 and then 17. My Canik TP9 is 18 plus 1. So, and then you can get extended plate to make it 20 plus 1. which is great if you're going to be gaming. And by gaming, I mean shooting competition. But, you know, so that's kind of basic informations. So, hello, everyone. Oh, and they're talking about the SIG 365. They were talking about, you know, the G23, which is the Glock 23, which is the shortened version of the 40, is 13+1. The SIG P365 is 12+1. And yeah, it has issues at the moment, but when it gets worked out, you know, it's going to be a nice carry gun. So it's just one of those things that unfortunately manufacturers nowadays are trying to rush everything out and don't do enough. Really do enough quality control and quality testing. And so some of this stuff doesn't get discovered till it hits the general public. We should probably spend a little more money on T&E and get some more. And I think what probably the biggest thing I see is who they're having T&E. So a lot of the times that you get these magazines that they're getting paid to T&E, and the gun companies aren't going to ever get an honest answer out of them. Because all the magazines are interested in is the money and then the sponsorship, and they don't want to piss them off. And they don't want to really accept the new media, which is, you know, a lot of us podcasters, which will tell you honestly if your product sucks or not.
Yeah, if anybody spent any time with that 365, they would have saw what was going on.
Yeah.
And never would have released it. So I don't know what SIG's doing these days.
SIG's like everybody else. Try and rush it out. No. I mean, even Rugers have had some issues when they've launched a couple of their latest ones. So, you know, not, you know, as major, but, you know, they're still there. It's everybody's trying to get everything out to the market fast.
Get it to market. We'll fix it later.
Yep. JH586 said, so Mike's a Ruger guy, huh? No. I have a couple of Rugers, but I'm not specifically a Ruger guy. But I do not like the feel of the shield. So, yeah. That's why I don't own a shield. Do not like the feel of it. Do not like the handling of it. And I got the LCP originally because I got it on a heck of a deal. And then I got the LC9S because I got it on a heck of a deal. So this was $299, and it came with a stripped AR-15 lower and a stripped AR-10 lower. Yeah, no brainer. Couldn't turn it down. So
I own 5 Rugers, so I'm the Ruger guy in the family.
Well, there you go.
Mike, if you don't like the shield, you need to just have our buddy machine you one like that, and I guarantee you'll like the way it feels.
Yeah. Do that again. I don't have the camera up.
I think you know the guy I'm talking about too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the guy who did the custom work on my cannon. That looks nice. So maybe I'll have to check. I don't know. The shield seems to be getting better with the newer version, so I don't know. We'll try it, but I do like the way this feels. So honestly, but I do need, the only thing I do need to go is I need to get probably Talon grips for it, because they've got a little bit of factory stippling on here, but it's really not enough. But they did put some effort into it. They even stippled the back strap, so that's kind of cool. And yes, it's empty. I verified it's empty. I can actually see light down the barrel through the chamber. So yes, it's absolutely empty. In case those of you who are playing around at home or playing along at home want to know. Well, I think that covers most of the 9mm. It really, you know, some of the interesting things, I guess one of the interesting things is the good old Russians did make a armor piercing over pressure variant with steel core. It will penetrate body armor at 40 meters. They redefined it in the 90s using a lighter bullet and is capable of penetrating an 8mm steel plate at 10 meters. And if it sounds like I'm in the middle of an earthquake, I guess the dogs are playing upstairs. So sorry about that.
Eight millimeters of steel, or I'm sorry, yeah, 8 millimeters of steel. That's 5/16. That's pretty good penetration.
Uh-huh.
At 10 meters, that's roughly 33, 35 feet.
Yep.
That's pretty good power.
Yep.
Light bullet, over pressure, steel core. Good
Yeah.
for the Russians. Good for the Russians.
So, according to Lyman, Bullseye, Winchester 231, unique or good popular propellants for this cartridge. It says, with any handgun cartridge, it is important not to seat bullets to a shorter than specified in the data. This is especially important with 9mm loads. Pressures can be raised dramatically with deep seating. So, it's kind of a little tip. Uses a small pistol primer. The trim to length on cases is 0.751. So when you hit 0.751, they are technically too short to use, and you should turn them into scrap or into 40 Smith & Wesson bullet jackets. So they have load data for 90, 95. So 90 is a jacketed hollow point. You see those a lot in 380s. So yes, it's a 380 bullet because amazingly enough, 380 is the same diameter as far as the bullet goes for the most part. Not always. So you've got a 90 jacketed hollow point. You've got a 95 grain FMJ. You've got a 125 grain jacketed hollow point. 115 grain jacketed hollow point. 115 grain round nose full metal jacket. There's 147 grain total metal jacket. And then in cast, there is 90 grain, 120 grain, 147 grain, and then all sorts of other fun stuff when you get down the rabbit hole and start just, loading your own. So the reason this is out here in the first place is because when we get to this mess here and we get everything set up, we're going to do the plunk test. So I'm going to show you how to do that later. But that might have to wait till next episode. We'll see what happens. All right. Anyway. So our first question is out of Facebook, and hoping to get some feedback on my first completed cartridge. The ever so slight hourglass shape worries me as well as the crimp. I feel like it might be slightly overdone. The OAL is 1.092, and I'm using 115 grain FMJ bullets. Just got all of my gear in a few hours ago, so I'm 100% brand new, and any advice is welcome. So this was a thread. I don't remember if it was in the podcast or the podcast group. So I'm looking it up quick here. Because I want to show you all the picture. And I'll put it in the show notes too. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to share screen here. I'm still getting used to Apple where the minimizes everything is on the one side. And, oh, I don't want that. Okay. All right, so now everybody can see what I'm seeing. So this was from Elijah McKay, and he says, hoping to get some feedback. So as you can see here, signs of a heavy crimp. Because you can definitely see that this is a completely different color from the rest of the case. And even though it does change a little bit down here towards the bottom. But what he's talking about by the hourglass is if you look at the sides, right about here where the bullet is, and then right after the bullet, it starts to go in just a bit. So, a couple of things that were brought up in the chat were over crimping. They wanted to know what type of dies. And, then, whoops, wrong click. So, and he purposely said, this was the entire post. It says, I'm 100% brand new and any advice, criticism is welcome. So, that's kind of the nice thing is he wants to know, what and so on and so forth. So he did take another picture here, and now you can really kind of see that hourglass, especially with the shadows and stuff. And, there's a couple of dings in the bullet itself. I don't know if that came from seating or not, but it very likely did.
In the second photo, you can also see the heavy over crimp.
Yeah.
So, Mike, did he tell you what dies he was using?
That's what I'm looking through to see here. So the most important thing I want to say, and the thing I thought was the coolest post in this entire conversation was Chad Gunder. Chad comes out and says, congratulations is the first thing that should be said. A bit too much crimp seems to be visible. Compare OAL to the book specific to that particular bullet, make and manufacture. Always verify book OAL with the fit to the specific barrel you intend to shoot it from. Again, congrats and be ready to spend lots of money on this addiction. So that was the cool thing, I thought. The rest of us were just, answering the question. But Chad took a second to say congratulations to a new reloader. And none of the rest of the comments in here were berating or anything like that. So that's not an issue. I just thought it was especially neat that he said, congratulations. So that was kind of cool. And so we did talk back and forward to a couple questions. He was using a Dillon 550B. I didn't ask what dies, but William Powell did, and I don't think he ever answered.
So in my experience, most of the time that I've got that hourglass shape has been when I've used Dillon dies. They seem to undersize. Do you use Dillon dies, Jason, when you're doing your 9mm?
Yes, I do.
Do you get that hourglass shape?
Yeah.
I get it when I use my Lee dies, but to me, it's never been an issue because that hourglass tends to pop right back out just whenever I discharge the round.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just said it right there, Jim. Most of the time, that hourglass is not a problem.
No, Jason kind of said, but he didn't say it, but not in so many words, but he said the same thing. He's pretty much, like I said before, he and I think a lot alike. Jason uses it. He don't have a problem with it. Well, he would have told you if he had a problem.
Yeah, but the first time a new guy gets reloading and he gets something like that, you would get worried that you did something wrong.
Yeah, you've got a point, Travis. Because you've got to, people tend to be their own worst critic. That, especially newcomers to, especially something to like, the arcane science, arcane magic of reloading. So they tend to be a little bit more intimidated by their own errors, trials, tribulations, malfunctions, good things going right, bad things going wrong. I don't know. But yeah, you're right, Travis. They tend to be more critical of themselves.
Right. So I know for guys who cast, that could be an issue too, especially when you get undersized brass, and then let's say you put it in like a cast projectile that's 358.
Right.
And you'll really see that bulge. And
right.
But as long as it passes that plunk test,
that's right.
Go for it.
That's what matters. Mike, if nothing else, field strip your gun and show us what that plunk test is. If nothing else, show us that tonight. Okay. We'll get to tearing down your press. Don't worry. Maybe not tonight, but
no, I think we're going to save that for next week. So, I do have 9mm that I have loaded on this press, and as you can see, I don't have a problem with the hourglass. You can also see that is a dang near perfect crimp. I basically, And I say dang near because I guarantee you if I got the calipers out, it's probably not 0.380. But it's eyeball perfect. You can look at it. It follows the flow of the case. It doesn't crush the bullet. And you can see the lip of the case, which is what it chambers off of. So that's important.
It headspace is on the mouth of the case.
Headspace. Okay, so like most silly toys, this requires pulling the trigger to take it apart. And even though I've been playing around with it, I'm not stupid. So I'm going to rack the slide a whole bunch more times, triple check to make sure there's no magazine in here, rack it some more. And then,
Before you put your finger in that trigger, point it in a safe direction, right?
yep. And actually, safe direction, I've got 2x4s here. So. Oh, that's right. This has got a magazine disconnect. Actually, I don't think I need to pull the trigger on this one. Sorry, I've only had this part a couple times. I know it's a pain in the ass, though. So it's got a pin that falls out.
So while you're taking that apart, Mike,
Yep.
Here's one of my cast projectiles. I don't know if you can see that. This one does have a slight hourglass appearance to it. Okay.
Nice. Nice.
So that one has a slight, yep. So it goes in to the barrel. It comes right back out.
Travis, hold the barrel up straight vertically, chamber end up. Now pick up that round if you would, please. Put it over the barrel. Just barely put the bullet in. Let it go. Plunk.
Yeah,
That is a classic plunk test. Yes, exactly. Just like that. Guys, that's how you plunk test your ammunition in your semi-automatic handguns. You want plunk test your revolver? You have to open the cylinder and drop it in.
So I'm sure Mike's, while he's getting his apart, does not have that hourglass appearance. I have no doubt his is going to go in his chamber just fine, but even mine with that hourglass.
Yep.
So Mike, do you want to talk about what you're doing right there and how a guy can use his barrel and his chamber?
Yeah.
So if it's poking,
Yep. So what I did is I popped the barrel out. Most of your semi-automatics operate the same way. Now, one of the things about Ruger is they love to have a magazine disconnect. So your handgun actually will not fire unless the magazine's in. So part of the noise you heard was me shucking shells out and emptying the magazine so I could put it back in to pull the trigger to release the mechanism to allow the whole entire slide to slide forward. So then once you get the slide out, flip it over, pop out your main spring or your recoil spring, whatever you want to call it. And then with your barrel, typically what you're going to do is push it forward a little bit, lift, and then pull it out. And with the plunk test, you have your barrel like this, take a cartridge, and you drop it in. That is a factory gold point. So that drops in factory. I grab one of my hand loads, drop it in, does the same.
Okay, Mike, one of the things that you can tell, if you get that back in focus, you guys, you see how the head of the case is perfect with the end of the barrel right there where he's got that little fork and you can see the brass casing. That's the mark of perfect, absolutely perfect headspace. Show us yes with the factory round, Mike, if you would, please. Turn it 90 degrees in your hand. Notice that the factory round is actually about a thousandth, maybe 1.5 under perfect headspace. That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect.
So the difference is factory. This is going to go off Sammy specs. I used this barrel. So that's kind of the difference there. So when we talk about plunk test, that's what it is.
So, but you just said something else too that brought up something else.
Yep.
So you, just like you were talking about a couple weeks ago about magazines. So you just said this might be within Sammy spec. Doesn't mean your barrel necessarily is, correct?
Right. Nope, it doesn't. So
basically a manufacturer can do whatever they wish to.
Yep.
With their product. And if they, it's just better for them, for everybody, if they go within Sammy specs.
Right. If they adhere to Sammy specs, it's easier to sell, it's easier to market. Otherwise, you got to be buying custom ammo from them, and that isn't going to fly.
nope, not on a handgun, especially a handgun that they market to self-defense. So, all right, folks. Oh, we can take the camera off of me because we don't need that no more.
Well, and remember, next week we want to take and show folks how to set up that Dylan you have right there.
Right. So that'll be next week because I'm not going to dive into that now because we'll be here for another hour and a half.
So, what is that, Mike? A 550 or a 650?
This is a 550. So right now it's actually set up. I could throw powder in it and away I go. But I am going to do the unthinkable. I am going to purposely screw with my machine to teach people how to load.
That's not hard to do. Just take your dies out. Yep.
So
that's all you
got to do. Is that your press or is that one you're giving away, Mike?
No, this one is mine. This is one that Ben Bohm actually sent me. So this was one that he actually had found as a 450 and then converted it.
Okay.
So yeah, this one is definitely changed my mind about Dylan a bit. They're very nice to use. And honestly, this press changed my mind about having everybody start on a single stage. I could honestly see people starting out on a 550. So the way a 550 works, and I'll show you just a little bit tonight since we got a couple minutes, is it's a 4-station press. You've got 4 stations up here. Your decapping, your powder. This is for flaring, for bullet seating. And then this is actually bullet seating and bullet crimping all in one shot. So you feed your brass in here to start. As you can see, there's a little primer sitting in there. As you move the shell plate up, this is your shell plate right here. Your lever, as you move the shell plate up, it actually, you can see the decapping die and you can see the pin. So it actually makes contact there. Sorry, it's a little squiggly. And then it will drive out the primer. And then when I bring it back down, as you can see, there's already a primer in there. This tube holds a bunch of primers and it drops them down. I don't know if I can get in there. Kind of. You can kind of see the bottom of the next primer. As this slides back, if there's room, it'll pick up and drop a primer. So as it slides in there, it picks up a primer if that's empty, but it's not. So then what it does, it slides back here. Shell plate comes back down. And then you actually have to push the lever forward, which then pushes the plate down and pushes the primer up into the now empty case. So then you let it go. This is a manually indexing press. So what this means, the shell plate doesn't turn by any sort of mechanism other than you. So you can literally hand turn it and you can just spin it around. And that is what turns it around. So I start here with a prime case. I move it to the next station. When I move it up, it activates the powder drop. Because you can see this thing here that's sticking down that pushes up and in. And I got to reset this because I just literally set it on here. And then it moves this lever assembly, which then causes this bar to slide forward, taking the powder charge from here to here, drops down into the case. Then we move over to then I move it over to the third station. In the third station, it literally just has a bar in the middle that actually comes down into the center of the case, and it actually flares out the edge just a little bit of the neck so that I can set a bullet in there easier. And I turn it around here, and then I run the ram up one more time, and it seats that bullet, and at the same time crimps that mouth of the case back to what it's supposed to be. Wow, that's jiggly. Sorry. Hope nobody's got motion sickness.
Now that 550 is an excellent machine, but it is worth mentioning, especially when loading pistol cartridges, to be very mindful with that powder drop.
Right.
And happen to index it yourself.
I know of at least 2 double charges that got into the gun and got fired because of that exact problem. Yep. You must mind what you're doing.
Now,
especially with tight group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I like how you said you changed your mind on recommending a progressive to new reloaders.
Yep.
Do you know that 550 also has a kit that you could turn it into a single stage press?
I've heard about it.
One,
maybe we'll have to get it and test it.
Yeah, the tool head just has the one die, and then the shell plate is just a single shell holder.
Okay. Now what
so
I guessed.
So
go ahead. Sorry.
So that 550 to me is one of the most adaptable presses a guy could get, especially for a new loader. Getting something that that eventually they're going to want to get into, spending money up front and getting into something like that, to me, is a better investment.
So what I would recommend for the new reloader to really make this better off, if you don't buy that adapter setup, is
just do it one at a time.
I got to really get that quick release. They make a quick release for this for the filling pop. So you take this off, set it over in the corner somewhere. Now you cannot charge on the press. And the reason for doing that is that way you can't it makes it harder to double charge. I shouldn't say can't, because anything's possible. What you would do is you would actually use just a regular powder charge dispenser, or we weigh them by hand, however you wanted to do it, and then put your cartridges in a loading block.
That's what you're talking about right there, Mike.
Yep. So I'm going to lock the camera in on you. Show somebody that again.
Right here. Do you remember who makes it? Is it Crimson?
Crimson something or other.
Crimson something. They're like $22, and they are well worth the investment. It replaces, so you don't have to, like, it took Mike a little bit to take his off.
Yeah, watch this. Done.
And so the nice thing, you could get a 550, multiple tool heads, and if a guy wanted one powder dispenser,
you gotta just pop it off and slap it on. So yeah, I'll have to find that and I'll put that in the show notes. So, but yeah, that thing is just absolutely amazing.
Mike, he's putting it away. Now, what was that? Just a quick change adapter for the powder hopper?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's worthwhile.
Yeah, Jim, they're super cheap. I think they are $22.
Okay, Mike, in the show notes, please put a link to that outfit if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to make show notes to find that.
Yeah, they've got a couple other pretty interesting things they've come up with too. I bought a couple of their products.
What was their name again?
It's Crimson something.
Entirely Crimson.
Entirely Crimson.
Yeah. They
Thank
make
you.
all sorts of fun stuff. They make a lot of stuff for Dylan's. A lot of different things for them. They also, that's another fun thing. They make an actual bolt setup for your AR trigger guards. So, you know, when you buy the receivers, it's got the open trigger guard on the bottom, and you have to drive the roll pins in to hold the thing in. They actually have a screw setup now for that. So that's nice.
Yeah, they've got 4 or 5 really good products. It's worth checking out.
Yep. So, yeah, they've got all sorts of fun stuff. Here's something that they have that's important. You know, the little tube clips for the primer tubes? They've got those.
Yep. Oh, I love that.
Yep.
See, I could stand that. I've got 12 tubes.
They've got a strainer for your powder measure that goes into the top of your powder measure. So if you may be worried about debris or something in your powder. So they've got a tube stand for your primer tubes. They've got a tube rack that you can hook it into. Actually, they've got a couple of different.
I'm going to be making a primer tube stand.
Yeah. All sorts of fun stuff.
Never thought about it. Heck, make it out of wood.
So that quick disconnect is $20 plus shipping.
Yep.
I think, does it show where those guys are located?
Made in the USA.
I want to say they're in Idaho.
If they are, you may have to.
They are.
I want to say it's Twin Falls.
Yep. That's exactly where they are. Twin Falls, Idaho.
Road trip,
Yes.
Travis.
That is not far from me at all.
Road trip.
Travis, now you got material to put on the podcast. You just got to go get it.
So, yeah, I'll put that link in the show notes. And it's entirely crimson.com. Yeah, and the quick disconnect for the powder dye clamp is amazing, as you just saw. You just pull and go.
So they're going to send us free stuff now, right? Because we're talking about them.
It'd be nice. I don't know if they will or not, but
I know I seen their stuff on Facebook. That's where I originally saw all their stuff.
we should have them on the show and have them talk about it at some point in time, though.
Honestly, though, back to that 550.
Yeah,
it's not that I'm a Dylan fanboy, but we should go into the more, maybe next episode, talk about that more, about how that, to me, that is one of the best presses to start off for a new guy. Honestly, I would say a 650 first, because I'm a little weary about the indexing that manually and getting a double charge. But if you're paying attention,
all right, so this is from Unique Tech. Solo single stage press conversion kit. The Solo single stage conversion kit converts your 550B or your XL650 to a single stage press. Allows you to perform reloading operations simply cannot be done using a Dilling progressive. So,
but like you just demonstrated, Mike.
Yep.
Is that really necessary if you just take out and just use one die?
No, not really. You could get away without it. So the only thing I could see for this is if you're trying to, maybe clean up how things are done. But so it
is that maybe for 50 BMG?
It doesn't necessarily say. The Solo single stage press conversion kit also allows you to utilize the full power of The press linkages, there is no shell plate to flex, and the force is directly over the center of the ram. So that's one of the things it does is instead of, excuse me.
So you're going to get more consistent, precise cartridges.
Yeah, theoretically. So I think it'd be fun to get and play with, but I don't know what the cost is on it or anything. Let's see here. Hey, Brownells. So Brownells is one of the dealers, so we'll check that out at Brownells. And if it loads quick enough, we can find out.
Just use all those show funds to buy one.
Yeah. We might save that until later. I got enough stuff sitting around here that I need to play with and get drawings done on. So. Yeah, I pretty much killed that. No, I slaughtered the spelling. No, I didn't. All right. So let's see if Brownells has it.
So, Jim, what press do you normally use when you are reloading?
Normally, if it depends, if I'm loading my handgun ammo, I'm on my 550. And if I'm reloading for the 280 AI I have, I use my Forster coax.
Jason?
650, 550, or if I'm doing rifle, I just do the single stage behind me. Mikey,
So
that
what's-
solo conversion kit is $95.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if it'd be worth it or not. I guess the question would be whether
Well, Mike, let's say
part that goes where the center bolt goes.
yeah, I was just going to say, how does that work? Because that does have that center bolt.
Yeah, it doesn't say what shell holders you would use on it, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's probably just using standard shell holders, so like your Lees or whatever. One of the common things they say is like if you're using the GRX push through base sizing die, it works great for it. So, or as like some people like to call it the bulge buster. So, yeah, it says single stage adapter bolts, CNC machine single station tool head, and then detailed instructions. So it says comes with unique text, tool head clamp kit pre-installed with the tool head clamp kit pressed into the press frame. Your press is just as solid as any traditional single stage press. So I don't know. I really honestly, looking at it, I don't know if it would be worth it. Not for $95. If it was cheaper, maybe I could see possibly, but not for $95. I don't think so. Because for that much, you could go buy a better press, a better single stage press, and that'd be dinking around. You spend a little bit more, and you get a really good, a really good press. I mean, you can get a cheap Lee for cheaper than that, but like the you can get a decent single stage press for, $30 or $40 more, and then spend less time dinking around. So, my personal opinion, anyway. But I don't know. I guess it'd be interesting to see, Jim, maybe once you get your setup back up and running,
Yeah.
we'll get one for you to try out.
What's that?
One of those single stage kits.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I say you is because you've got the Forester coax.
Right. Oh, okay. I see why.
You could do a head-to-head comparison against the Cadillac and see, okay, so is it really worth it or not? I mean, if you can get Cadillac style reloading quality out of, just a $95 part to switch over your Dillon, then yeah, I could see it being worth it. But if you're going to get Lee quality out of it, then what's the point?
Exactly.
So yeah, we'll put that on the list for testing later. It'll probably be after the 650's come and gone, which will be sometime this fall, probably November is what I'm looking at for the 650 when I get it, and when we'll get it and do some testing with it and then give it away. Because like I said, I've got a bunch of stuff here I need to get through yet before we do that.
Yeah, you got to make space in your garage.
That too. All right, folks. Want to take time to thank everybody who tunes in weekly. So let's see here. They were talking about different single stages and stuff like that. Talking about using your 550 for accuracy for rifle. And you can load certain amounts of rifle on the 550 as it is. There's nothing wrong with that. So, but all right, folks. First off, let's do that. Okay, that's better. So, want to take time to thank Patriot Patch Company. The August patch of the month hasn't come out yet, but this was July's awesome patch. Great quality. I'll take it off and hold it up so you can actually see it. So, Colonial Pocket Dump. You see everybody doing the EDC pocket dumps. So this is a Colonial Pocket Dump. You get a hatchet, a dagger, flintlock pistol, a straight razor, a powder horn, and some ball. That's kind of what you'd be carrying for EDC, everyday carry. So. But also want to take time to thank everybody over at Firearms Radio Network. Sean and the gang giving us a place to hang out and put the show on every week. So appreciate everything they do to help us out. Trying to think. Well, I think that's about it for now. If you're shopping Brownells or you're shopping Amazon, swing over to firearmsradio.tv and hit up the Brownells and the Amazon affiliate links. Helps us out, helps the network out, and doesn't cost you any extra money. I want to take time to thank everybody who tunes in live, everybody who sends us emails, show ideas. We've got quite a few in now, so it's good. Thanks for all the feedback. And thanks for all the constructive criticism. Appreciate it. We can't make it better if we don't know what's wrong. We're still working on the sound quality issues that we've got. I'm going to talk to Sean. I sent him a link of what I've got set up, and we're going to go over that and see if there's stuff that needs to be here. So. We're still working on it, so hang in with us there. Is there anything left in the... Well, they're talking about different things. So M40A13 said he loaded 7 rem mag on there, and that's a pretty decent sized bullet. So don't know if you could get 338 Lapua on there or not, but yeah.
I do believe Dylan said that pretty much the standard limit for that particular press on the 550 is 30-06 length ammunition. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we know 7 mag can be put on there, but I'm talking about the standard size.
Right. Oh. Yep. All right. Want to take time to thank all of our Patreons and appreciate everybody that keeps sending us our hard-earned money so we can continue to improve, continue to give stuff away. I'm just sorry that unfortunately life's been kind of ridiculously busy right now to be able to get some of those videos shot and stuff. And so seems like every time I turn around, something else is going on. So just kind of hang in there and bear with us. So Jason, eventually I'll send you that powder thrower. Maybe. No, I will eventually. So
I'm holding my breath, Mike.
I'm sure you are. The Labrator I'm not sending yet because I got to order 2 more things for it.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I know. I want to play with it again because I got to get the base stand because we didn't have the stand for it. We just had it sitting on the table, and I want to see if how much of a difference that makes. And then before I send it out to you, I want to get. Actually, no, I won't order that because then I got to worry about shipping lithium. They make a battery backup that you can run it off of. I'll just ship that to your house when I get ready to ship the Labrator out. So
okay.
Sneeze all over it, Mike.
Oh, I licked it. I licked it like it was a lollipop. So, but
Ooh.
ew, nasty. On that note,
Got him.
Yep.
Got him.
Yep. Keep Gollum in the back. He's scaring all the customers. All right. Keep your brass shiny.
Keep your powder dry.
Travis.
Your
Not a matter
turn.
of it. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Good one, Travis. Good one. Squeeze. Don't yank that trigger.
Squeeze it real slow. Squeeze.